Hey, what's up, paint can friends and family? Welcome to another video today. Hasn't been quite a bit recently. I'll be on the T7, riding around on some county roads, some back roads, some state land. This one is a town road, only about 15 miles from my house. And man, if you look at just the banks and stuff, the way it's cut down through here and such, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool place to ride. So we're going to be, again, hitting the back roads and see where we get. We're going to be heading up into the Adirondacks, hitting some roads I've never hit before. Guy I delivered to up there that I've posted a couple times with the truck, he gave me a little bit of a heads up on some bad back roads, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. So we're not going to be doing any GoPro footage from the bike. We're just going to be stopping along the way, show you some of the cool spots and take some pictures and that type of stuff. So, hey, stick around. Maybe it'll be a cool ride. So as we start out here in some of these pics, we're in the back hills of Brookfield heading over toward Bridgewater. Kind of cool area. I'm stopped now on State Route 51 on what's called the Ilion Gorge. Really cool gorge area, a lot of twists and turns, probably 100 or so. And in these 100 or so turns, I screwed up a couple of years ago, and I said that it could be compared in a lot of ways to the tail of the dragon. And I was absolutely incorrect. After riding this one probably, I don't know, 50 times in my life, and then riding 3 times through the tail of the dragon, I can honestly say there's no comparison. This one has, I don't know, 100 or so turns, and a couple bikes going by right there. But this has 100 or so turns, probably 10 to 12 miles long. Very twisty. I think it's underrated for what it is here in the state of New York, but it's not by any means tail of the dragon material. It's definitely, it's fun, but it's definitely not the tail. So we're heading farther up into the Adirondacks. We haven't gotten into the Adirondacks yet, just making a few stops along the way. Thought this was kind of a cool pull off, and you can probably hear the small creek behind me just going down through, and it was all cut by that creek down through, and the road follows the water down a couple places it crosses, but pretty much follows the side of it, and that's why it's so twisty and windy. So if you're in the area, it's definitely a place worth riding. It's State Route 51. It goes from Ilion south to Cedarville. I'm heading north on it, which up is down and down is up, because if you figure going north is up, but it's actually downhill. So up is down, down is up on this one. Well, she's clean for now, but not for long. Let's stop and grab some gas. This is the kind of gas station you stop at. Little town of Salisbury. One side, a little diner in there. Really clean bathrooms. Nice little place. A little foreshadowing there a few seconds ago about it being clean for now. A little dust from these side roads, but oh boy, we're gonna mess it up here. I ended up doing a little bit of single track, and we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I got it pretty much hopelessly buried. Had to put it on its side and drag it out of this mud. Doesn't look like a lot, but put it right to the frame. It was pretty bad. So stopped in the car wash, got it washed up, and this is where I went on my trip today. Well, we made it home. Yeah, that single track. Gotta talk about that for a second. So I did a lot of back roads in state land and that type of stuff. I had a great time on the dirt roads. Some of it was a little bumpier than others, and it was a great time. One thing that I've been eyeballing on my Onyx app, and I gotta tell you, Onyx Off-Road, some of the stuff that looks like it's difficult is nothing, and then some of it that doesn't look like it's all that bad. Prepare yourself. I got in over my head. I'm not afraid to say it. I definitely got in over my head. Black Lake Road, I believe is what it's called. Not far from Nobleboro off of Route 8. I took that up in, and turns out it's basically a side-by-side or a four-wheeler road that was originally made for pickups, but really nothing's been done to it maintenance-wise in years by the way it looks. And now it's a snowmobile trail. So I went up by Black Lake, thought I'd see that. Apparently that was off in the trees farther, or whatever. Came to an intersection, and the trail I was on, I have no idea where that goes. I've got to guess maybe toward Old Forge, but I'm not going to stay on a snowmobile trail for the next 25, 30 miles. So I turned left because it said it went back down toward Poland direction, which eventually. So as I was riding along, I could have turned around, and you could ask that, why didn't you just turn around? It was an unbelievable rock garden. And what it looked like, the direction I was going, looked like it was more dirt instead of rocks. The part that I'd been on was just one rock after another, some really big ones, sticking up out of the ground a foot or 18 inches or whatever you can easily see and go around. But a lot of round, rolly type rocks. And didn't want to play with that, going down some of the steep hills and get rolling on that. I was going to try this other trail, which it was okay, with the exception of it's snowmobile trail, and they really don't care about rocks because there's snow on it. Doesn't matter. Lots and lots of rocks once I got going on that one, and a few different mud holes. Well, where I got into trouble basically is, and I should have known better. Just, it was kind of a stupid mistake. Should have known better. But I was riding along on that snowmobile trail, and you could see where some four-wheelers, side-by-sides or whatever, got into some fairly deep mud through the center of the trail and off to the left. So it looked like some halfway decent, maybe somewhat dense grass. I hopped off, kind of walked out through. Really wasn't any big deal. But when I went through it with a bike, I went right through that sod, and it was basically, there was nothing under it. It was just gooey mud, which kind of strange this year because it has been drier than dry. So the Karoo Extreme is a Metzler tire on the back, not the stock one, because I wouldn't have, that thing's terrible. So I put a Metzler Karoo Extreme on the rear, much more open tire, and it was going quite well through the mud. Bike was just barely moving second gear, but it was chewing, it was digging, and it was going. So I wasn't super concerned. And then I don't know if it was a tree root or a rock or what I hit with the front tire, but there was something solid down in the mud, and it just stopped it. And when it stopped, it was about the same time that the frame hit the ground. So literally, I just stepped off the bike. It was stuck standing up. I wiggled, I jiggled, I rocked back and forth, but every time I moved back and forth, literally it just went deeper. It didn't do anything. So here's where I got in too deep. I'm miles from anywhere on a trail I've never been on. The sun is starting to set, and there's no cell signal. So I got to get this bike out like right now or sooner. And to add to it, in that one pic, there's a big old chunk of granite sticking out of the ground about a foot right where it stopped. To go to the right, it's deeper and gooier. To go to the left is decent hard ground, but then there's that chunk of granite. So I put some limbs on the granite to try to slide. I tipped the bike over on its side to try to slide it on the limbs across the granite. Ended up getting a couple scratches, but not as bad as it could have been. Dragged the front end out, then dragged the back end out. Went to stand it back up, and when I stood it back up, the frame was sitting on top of the granite. Kickstand was digging into the rock, didn't want to move. It was just, it was a whole thing. Definitely shouldn't have done it. Got in over my head. If you're going to ride single track like that, especially when you don't know where you're going, it's probably a better idea to have somebody with you. Live and learn. I got out of it fine, a couple scratches on the bike, but at the same time, I bought it to ride off-road, so it's not the end of the world there. I guess words of wisdom, don't be like me. Don't do stuff dumb. And if you're going to try to plan for some sort of way out, I didn't have any, like a tie-down strap to kind of winch me out. I didn't bring a lot of stuff with me because I was just planning on riding dirt roads. According to the Onyx off-road app, this looked like a pretty easy trail I was on, and it definitely was not. And then I went back and looked at it, and the trail I was on wasn't even on the app anymore. So I can't fault the app, fault myself more for that. But anyway, here we are, and got out of it. Sun was going down, and literally I really didn't know where I was, which wasn't real good. and had no way of like camping out if I couldn't get the bike out. And snowmobile trail is no big deal if you're using it for what it's supposed to be, for sleds, because there's going to be more sleds going by. But this time of year, probably not going to be anybody going by for a week or two. So it was going to be a walk it out or get it out. So I got it out. All is well. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Had a really good time today, but did some learning in that one spot. But all is well. So we got back safe. So it's all good. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. God bless and have a great day.